actually was not able to see this film. I wanted to. You exposed me to the trailer, and it looked phenomenal. It was a great trailer, and I was very intrigued by based on the premise, the acting, and what was presented. But you were actually able to go to the theater and check out The Green Knight. How was that, man?
So, quick rundown. I went into this completely fresh. I seen the preview for this movie, I think before Fast 9. And then I seen it again before going to see Zola. And it was like, all right, man, this looks interesting right here. This looks like the kind of movie that was intentionally kind of held to get people into the theaters. Overall, I don't want to get too much into the story of the movie because it's not a story that's overly unfamiliar. You know, the story where the hero overcomes a challenge and then learns a lesson at the end is a trope that continues across multiple genres of movies. What makes The Green Knight different is number one, this was a movie that was rated R. And for an R-rated movie, there isn't a lot of violence or even a lot of action. This isn't an overly graphic kind of experience to warrant that R rating. I think it more comes in line with some of the subject matter as well as just what the character is going through and some of the visuals. The movie is about 2 hours long, so you do need to kind of settle in for it. The twist, for me, the twist on that kind of story that seems a little bit familiar is that in a lot of these stories where you get the person who becomes the hero by accident and then has to prove why they're the hero. The difference in it with this movie in comparison to, say, a Black Panther or Lord of the Rings, which, you know, is the obvious comparison for this kind of medieval Middle Earth fantasy setting, is that the main character in this movie views himself one way. He wants to be viewed as being the conquering kind of hero, but knows that that's not who he actually is. So the drama in this movie is seeing him at multiple turns come to grips with the fact that he's not the person he's presenting himself to be. There are multiple choices where he needs to figure a way out of a situation, figures his way out of it, but indirectly makes things worse for himself. For me, I appreciate seeing that and understanding that. This is a movie that is meant to be watched by adults because as adults, we come to those situations. You know, I don't want to get overly philosophical here, but this is the okay.
Go ahead, man.
This movie is the road less traveled poem extended into that medieval fantasy setting. And you have to watch it to be able to understand what I mean. And the lesson in this movie is that, you know, you can take the easy way out. You can do that. You can make that choice to continue to take the easy way out. But at some point, it's going to catch up with you. And when it does, how do you come to grips with that? Are you ready to come to grips with that? And seeing the main character come to grips with that at the very end of the movie, to me, justifies the entire 2 hour and 4 minute runtime up to that moment. Visually, this is a great movie. The acting might be a little bit overly dramatic. The setting might be a little bit too serious, but you got to take into account this is an art movie. This is not a mainstream type of film. And under a different set of circumstances, I don't think, like, this is the kind of movie, bro, that comes out in like late October, November.
War season.
this is that kind of movie that will come out around that time, like around January or like a week before Christmas. One of those kind of situations. Like, it's not a coincidence that The Green Knight came out on July 30th and then The Suicide Squad came out on August 6th. This is not the kind of movie that was made to be released to draw people into it to be direct competition for that big box office release. Overall, I enjoyed it. I understood what was going on. The story isn't one that we're not too unfamiliar with, but the journey along the way is very interesting, and there are signature moments in this movie that make the light bulb go off to where you're like, damn, I get that. I dig it. I don't know how many more times I'm going to watch this movie. I don't know if I really need to sit down and dissect it again. I enjoyed it. I appreciate it for what it was. It might be in the rotation in about a year or two, but overall, I'll say this is around that 7.5 to 8 out of 10 range. And yeah, the trailer to this movie will lead you to believe that there's more action than what's actually there. But I say sit down with it, let the story kind of play out, enjoy it, and then kind of make your own determination after that. But overall, I enjoyed The Green Knight.
Dope, man, dope. Do you see a sequel with this in the series? Do you see
No,
like a trilogy or a one-off?
no. This is definitely a one-off. This is most definitely a one-off, and I just hope that the people who did see it enjoyed it and understood what was actually there. This is the best way to describe The Green Knight is a I'm not going to say high budget. I'm going to say a high visual adult fairy tale is the way that I'm going to describe The Green Knight.
Okay. Yeah, I got those vibes watching the trailer, man. I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, 7.5, 8 out of 10. That's a damn fine, good movie in my opinion, especially with the release schedule. Let's just admit it, like the quality of movies that's been released this year in the pandemic era, it's been kind of hit or miss. So I'm glad to see that there's quality work being done in an indie film kind of presentation, still being released in theaters and still trying to garner some kind of audience. I got a feeling this might kill it once it home release. I think it'll catch more buzz that way rather than the theaters, because it just got buried by Suicide Squad and Black Widow. It just had a bad, like you said, had a bad state to get any kind of attention. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. I'm hoping that Nintendo's watching so they can get some ideas on how to do a Legend of Zelda live action. Grab some of this talent, hit up Netflix. Let's get a series going.